There was a blue in the Federal Hotel in the early 80s, and some bloke dug two fingers into a bloke's eye socket, pulled his eye out, threw it in the floor, stomped on it, flattened it so that it couldn't go back in. I heard the story, so I was aware of it, and around about 2 years later, I was with my brother, and we got into a blue at the Talbot Hotel, or my brother got into a blue, and had a billiard cue broken over his head on twice and snapped the billiard cue. I raced over and popped the bloke that smashed the cue over my brother's head, knocked him over onto the top of a bar, grabbed him and turned him over, and I was ready to drive another punch into him, and two blokes grabbed me from behind, dragged me down the floor. This bloke slid off the bar, regained consciousness, slid off the bar, and he started gouging into my face. He's taken hunks of flesh out all over the place, and then he's trying to get into my eye. I didn't wear glasses at that time, and he's trying to get the fingers in. I knew what he was trying to do, and I latched onto his thumb, and I just about bit his thumb off. Anyway, he was screaming so much he let go of the eye, and I can still see him coming back, and I then released my grip. But he's got up, he's grabbed the broken end of the thick end of the billiard cue, and he's come back to spear me in the face with it. But one of the blokes that was holding me down had a little bit of form and let go of the arm, and I picked up a bar stool, swung it at him, and he desisted and moved away. But I finished up writing a poem about it, but the reason I've written a poem about it is because I want my poems to be warnings to let young people know that violence is perhaps not the way to go. After 20 years of hard work in 1982, I ruptured a couple of discs in my spine, spent a good deal of time in traction, and saw myself out of the hospital and went home crawling around on my hands and knees. I kept crawling over a book of poetry that had been left lying on the floor by one of my sons, and I wasn't a reader. I'd never been a reader, I'd always been a talker. One day, through boredom and the fact I had to be in bed for the day, I flipped the book over and saw it was poetry. And poetry, I'm too tough to read poetry. I thought, no one will see me, I'll read it. I thought, well, that was all right, I'll read it again. So I reread it, and I thought, I reckon I could write this sort of stuff myself. By spring of 1983, I had my first poem published in a small literary journal in Adelaide, and in 1986 I released my first book, No Collars, No Cuffs, which has now gone through 9 printings. When I began to write, what I wanted to do was create a voice for working class people, people like myself, people who grew up without a formal education, that perhaps left school at 14 or 15 but had stories to tell. And when you think about it, most books have been written by middle class people who are writing about their middle class existence. I wanted to give some guts to the lives of ordinary, everyday people. I was working as a bouncer in pubs at the time, so I started writing about the people that were in the pubs. What I was doing was going into those places and talking to working class men, and they were mainly working class men, about issues like domestic violence, about drug and alcohol abuse, about issues that really mean something to them and things that they really need to think about. It's confronting poetry. I don't write soft poetry. I don't write about daffodils or bowls of fuchsias. I write about all sorts of harsh issues. I work in a factory Monday to Friday, punch on, punch off. I work a rotating roster Monday to Friday, punch on, punch off. I wear earmuffs and gloves Monday to Friday, punch on, punch off. I stamp on a press Monday to Friday, punch on, punch off. I slaved my fingers last Monday to Friday, punch on, punch off. I work on a tally Monday to Friday, punch on, punch off. I'm told to work faster Monday to Friday, punch on, punch off. I smoke over with Billy Monday to Friday, punch on, punch off. I play euchre at lunchtime Monday to Friday, punch on, punch off. I just do my best Monday to Friday, punch on, punch off. I'm paid the award for Monday to Friday, punch on, punch off. I don't complain to the boss Monday to Friday, punch on, punch off. But complain to my partner Monday to Sunday, Want to punch on? Punch on.